Good evening, Tallahassee. I'm student meteorologist AJ Willie.
And I'm student meteorologist Sarah Converse.
And it is sadly our last Thursday show of the year. Last day that I'm going to be producing the show for my entire college career, so I'm not going to get all sentimental or anything, but it's definitely been a fun ride for us all here at FSU Weather. We're going to have the senior show tomorrow night, which all the seniors that have been a part of FSU Weather will get to do the show, and it will be a nice send-off for everybody.
Yeah, and we'll tell you guys what we're doing, what our plans are for the future, so definitely make sure to tune in for the Friday show. It'll be a very special show indeed. Yeah,
it kind of seems like we've had the copy and paste kind of forecast for like the last 4 weeks. Every Thursday show for about the past month, I feel like it's been severe weather moving in overnight and then a beautiful weekend ahead, and that's exactly what we're looking like this weekend.
Definitely. So we're going to be having to dodge some thunder showers and storms. But then, as you said, once it all passes, a beautiful week ahead as we get into finals week. Yeah, and we could actually see our first 90-degree temperature of the year next week. I'm not gonna get you too excited, but you'll see on the 7-day we might see some 90-degree temperatures next week. Yeah, so make sure to stay hydrated, and as you're walking into your finals and stuff, just make sure you drink lots of water, as it will be pretty hot out there.
Yeah, perfect time to stay indoors and stay in the library and study for finals, because I don't know anybody that enjoys 90-degree heat.
No, I don't. I mean, and if you're done with your finals early, head out to the res or go out to the pool and get your tan on.
Yeah, but for now, we're going to send things over to Lorenz, who's got a look at our overview.
Thanks, AJ and Sarah. And currently, if you look at our satellite radar for the actual day of Thursday, which is today, there's not really any storms in the area. There's a few high-level clouds, but there's no rain as of yet. It will happen later in this evening, and that's what you really need to worry about. It'll continue through Friday morning, and that's what's going to be the main theme throughout the rest of the show. There's that system of rain that's going to push through our region and then continue on throughout the country. And right there, you see that little yellow box? That is that tornado watch. And so if you're in that area, you need to be thinking about how to prepare yourself for if there's a tornado and if there's going to be severe weather throughout that region. But currently, on a happier note, it is 77 degrees in Tallahassee, a little warmer as you go up to northern Georgia, and it's still basically going to be warm for the rest of the day, even as the rain comes in. And Friday morning, it's going to be a little cooler with 64 degrees and storms really coming in, which is going to be the main thing. And tomorrow it's going to be 82 degrees, so it will continue to be hot. But for now, I'm going to pass it on to AJ to take a look at the southeast.
Yeah, thanks, Lorenz. As we were talking about earlier, we are going to have that chance for some severe weather moving into our area and through the southeast tonight. You can see here on the temperatures throughout the southeast throughout the day, you can really see the cloud cover over top, making temperatures in Montgomery only about 62 degrees as of right now, whereas those of us down here in Florida are actually still seeing temperatures easily into the 80s. Temperatures around much of the southeast, 75 degrees for those who are behind the front and it's already passed. You can see 62 degrees here and raining in Montgomery. But if we look down into the Florida region, temperatures still easily into the 80 degrees, 81 degrees down in Miami. Dew points are getting up into the higher side. It's getting almost to that time of year where we're going to have to pull back out the muggy meter graphic, which indicates how high those dew points are and how comfortable it really is outside. You can still see temperatures here, or dew points here, 68 degrees in New Orleans, definitely on the higher side, getting into that oppressive category. Our winds here, you can see all of this convergence along the frontal zone, strong southerly flow coming up from the Gulf, providing plenty of moisture to these showers and storms as they start to develop in the overnight hours. You can see them here already well developed. We had some tornado watches down in the Florida Panhandle moving in to the Gulf shores of Alabama area, and you can see these storms continuing to push eastward towards our area. We're expecting them to arrive right about midnight into the overnight hours, and they'll pretty much be gone through our area though as we get into the early morning hours of your Friday. You can really see that here on your Futurecast moving into our area tonight. And then here you can see it's about 8 a.m. and the storms are already out of our system, making for an absolutely gorgeous weekend for us here in Tallahassee. It's going to be absolutely perfect weekend to do whatever you want to do outdoors. So our storm outlook here has us in a slight risk for severe weather as we get into tonight and into the overnight hours. But for tonight's forecast, looking at temperatures dipping back down into the low to mid 60s throughout much of the southeast. Those of you down in South Florida are looking at much warmer temperatures, whereas those of you up into the northern part of the southeast will be seeing much cooler temperatures. This could be our last real frontal passage of the year, so we'll definitely continue to keep an eye on that as the severe weather moves into tonight. As we get into tomorrow, looking like mostly nice and mostly clear skies once those storms move through the areas. You can see here Jacksonville, Orlando, Tampa could see some of that severe weather move into their area later in the afternoon hours. But for those of you behind the front, you can see it's really going to be a perfect day for tomorrow. But for now, I'm going to send things over to Margaret with a look at our first local forecast.
Thanks, AJ. We're going to jump right into the current conditions here in Tallahassee. It's 77 degrees and it's cloudy. And if you've been walking around like I have earlier this afternoon, it's not just a thick blanket of clouds. It is patchy clouds, some here, some there. And we do have a nice south wind at 10 miles per hour, so it was really nice walking around without the sun in my eyes and with the nice temperatures and the wind. Our satellite and radar here, you can see looking at it that we don't have these thick clouds that were here earlier. They're thin clouds. You may get some peaks of sunshine through the clouds as you're out and about this evening running errands or going out to get some dinner. So nice evening overall right now for the early part of the evening. But as we zoom out here, it's not going to stay nice all evening. This line of storms here will make its way to the east towards Tallahassee overnight tonight. So you want to be indoors before the weather arrives, which we'll get into the timing of that in a moment, because a lot of the parts along here can produce severe thunderstorms. This is actually a tornado watch for the area from Mobile over towards Panama City. So this line is capable of producing both severe thunderstorms and the occasional tornado, so you want to be somewhere safe indoors when this reaches Tallahassee later on tonight. Zooming back in a little bit more locally, our current temperatures are quite warm, 77 degrees for Tallahassee, as well as Thomasville. Quincy and Bainbridge both above 80, and Quincy and Thomasville, actually everywhere besides Tallahassee on here, seeing that really nice sunshine right now. So with that warmth, and then we've got these high dew points here in our current conditions getting up from those into those mid 60s here in Tallahassee. That warmth and that humidity will serve as fuel for those storms when they arrive, especially with the southerly wind keeping the moisture and the warmth coming in off the Gulf towards Tallahassee and the surrounding Florida, Big Bend, South Georgia area. And that's why the Storm Prediction Center has put out a slight risk for severe weather. That's level 2 out of 5 on the scale shown across the top here, with thunderstorms just as a 0. So Tallahassee and places to the west are in that slight risk area, so you want to pay attention to the futurecast timing here. Storms should be getting into Gadsden County by 11:30 p.m. and rolling through Tallahassee, Leon County, and places east, and be out of our neck of the woods by 7 in the morning. So unless you've got a very early morning commute, you should be clear. Just make sure to watch for any debris or flooded roadways, and then it'll be a gorgeous rest of the afternoon on Friday with beautiful clear skies. Our day planner getting up to 80 degrees by tomorrow afternoon, and then the 7-day outlook here getting up to 90 by Tuesday. That's a little too hot for my tastes, but it's great weather for getting indoors and studying. So I'm going to send things back to the desk with Michael.
Yeah, thanks, Margaret. And that storm system you did see along the Gulf Coast states in Louisiana and Alabama, unfortunately did produce a deadly EF3 tornado, preliminary EF3, in Ruston, Louisiana. And if you don't know where Ruston, Louisiana is, it's located on the northern part of the state, right along I-20, just halfway between Shreveport and Monroe, Louisiana. So the tornado moved through Ruston, Louisiana at 1:50 a.m. Central Daylight Time. And you can see some of the damage pictures once dawn broke there in Ruston, Louisiana. And again, it was an EF3 tornado, so winds were between 136 and 165 miles per hour. So a very strong tornado for northern Louisiana. Now, those are the some of the pictures in downtown Ruston, Louisiana. A lot of tree and structural damage. These next few pictures, you'll get to see some of the damage to a local college campus there, Louisiana Tech University. Those are some of their athletic fields. You can see the softball fields right there. A lot of the fencing and structural damage there. Basically, the fencing is completely gone, and at least the field is looking okay. But in terms of the campus, they were closed today due to the significant damage. And hopefully they should recover quickly with those great weekend conditions we are expecting. Now we're going to send it back to the wall with Sarah with a look at the National.
Yeah, no, so this day and this week, really for Thursday and Friday, you're going to be make sure that you are weather aware. But right now for nationally, though, have a little bit of just everything. We have some spring-like temperatures out into the northeast. And as we get down into the southern area, seeing some warmer conditions as we have San Antonio at 87, Miami at 81. Now, as we can see where that frontal system is passed through, you have all that dry air behind it and all that moisture in front of it. And that is due to all these southerly winds bringing a lot of this Gulf moisture. That's why it's really muggy over here, and you can really see where those winds start to pick up, indicating where that frontal system is starting to push its way through. As we get into our upper level water vapor, you can really see all that's really really effective for this storm to really build up these strong thunderstorms. A lot of moisture out here in their upper level water vapor. That's why these storms are pretty dangerous as they move in through our area. If you can see really closely into the radar, we do have some oranges and reds popping up. That is an indication of heavy rainfall, and as Michael was saying, this storm has produced a tornado and is capable of producing more tornadoes. As I zoom into more into the southeast area, you can really see this storm system start to push its way through a good line of storms that are really strong and can potentially be severe, as parts of the panhandle are in that tornado watch. So make sure that you have at least one way to get a severe alert for the system, and have at least one place you can go that is your safe zone. So make sure you're wary of this as the system pushes through our area. And really it matches up to where the Storm Prediction Center has put the severe outlook, as we are in this yellow of slight. And you may think, what is yellow? Well, that's indication of potential severe weather, as we have frequent lightning. You can see gusty winds up to 60 miles per hour or more, and you cannot rule the possibility of an isolated tornado. So that's what that yellow means, and that's a warning of that. And as we get into tomorrow, that system's going to push its way into the northeast. Now the slight risk is going to move into North Carolina, into Virginia, Maryland, and some parts into Delaware. So make sure you are weather aware for Thursday into Friday, and making sure you stay safe. But for tonight, cooling down for some of the Pacific Northwest areas into Billings at 41. But as we move down into the southeast, warming up to 55 in Memphis, and seeing that cold front still hanging around, pushing its way through as the storm starts to move into Tallahassee. So we have that storm indication right there of 64 degrees. Now for tomorrow, though, not really seeing a cool spot right now. You can really see that warmth starting to push its way up, almost up to the Midwest as well, 79 in Fort Worth. But you can see that sunshine behind that cold front start to pop up. Nice conditions around for most of the Midwest once we get past all these storms. But now I'm going to hand things over to Michael with Around Florida.
Yeah, thanks, Sarah. And we're going to take a look at, honestly, a very nice day across a lot of the Sunshine State. And you notice why the Panhandle was a little cooler compared to the rest of the state today. It's because of all the cloud cover due to that frontal system well ahead of the front back towards Louisiana, Mississippi. So temperatures in the Panhandle today only in the low to mid 70s. The rest of the state, though, you did get into the 80s, and you actually got close into the mid to upper 80s the further south you go, especially south of I-4. So a very nice day in the peninsula overall. And you can see still cloudy in Pensacola and Tallahassee, 72 degrees in Pensacola and 77 in Tallahassee, with 80s everywhere else in the state, 82 in Jacksonville and 84 in Orlando and 81 down towards Miami. And the dew points, these dew points are going to rise well into the 60s and into the 70s ahead of that frontal system back towards Louisiana, Mississippi. You can already notice the high dew points in Pensacola at 72 degrees. Tallahassee, that dew point will rise as we go into the overnight hours before that line of storms moves through in the early morning hours, like around 4 a.m. Satellite radar does show you mostly clear conditions across the peninsula of Florida, but off towards the west, especially into Alabama and around Pensacola, that line of storms is starting to move in. But let's look at the bright side first. South Florida looking very good. Just a mix of sun and clouds, but honestly a great day out there. And with the mix of sun and clouds continuing into tomorrow, it's going to really heat up. A lot of us getting into the 90-degree mark, 90 in Fort Lauderdale, 91 in Miami, but a little bit cooler out towards Naples, given those scattered showers and thunderstorms expected at 84 degrees. For North Florida, similar story, a mix of sun and clouds. But as we go into tomorrow, that front does make its way through the state. And so with the numerous thunderstorms expected, a little bit cooler compared to the last few days, with temperatures only in the low to mid 80s with, again, those numerous thunderstorms expected. Now out towards the Panhandle, we do have this tornado watch in effect for Santa Rosa, Escambia, and Okaloosa County, and then out towards Alabama for Mobile and Baldwin County with a severe thunderstorm warning down towards Dolphin Island. So again, this line is going to move through as we go into the overnight hours, impact Tallahassee in the very early morning hours. So do expect some severe storms, and maybe an isolated tornado is not out of the question. So be prepared for this as you go to sleep tonight. But it all clears out by the time we get into tomorrow with mostly sunny and sunny skies in the Panhandle with temperatures in the upper 70s to around 80 degrees. So honestly, a great day to end the last Friday of April in the Panhandle. So for tonight's forecast, very warm and muggy conditions, especially in the Panhandle with those thunderstorms moving through. The rest of the state will be warm and muggy, but dry. 67 in Orlando, 73 in Tampa. And then for tomorrow, clears out in the Panhandle behind that front. The thunderstorms will be numerous across the middle part of the state along the I-4 corridor with very hot and humid conditions in South Florida, temperatures in the 90s. Now, let's send it off to Lawrence with our second local.
Yeah, thanks very much, Michael. And today we're really going to talk about the rain coming in tonight and the warm temperatures moving on in through the rest of the week. But right now it is still pretty hot. It's 77 degrees. The clouds are in the sky, ready for that storm that's going to approach us from the west. And that's really what's going on right now. So currently it is, once again, 77 degrees, a little bit warmer up in the northern or the southern part of Georgia, northern part of the Big Bend region. And our dew points show that we are getting that southerly wind flow, 64 in Tallahassee, and a little bit drier up in Thomasville, Valdosta, and Bainbridge, and that's just because of the Gulf flow bringing in the southerly winds. You can see right now that we have 13 miles an hour in Tallahassee, and it is 15 miles an hour in Monticello, so that's really where the moisture is headed, and that's where you're going to feel a little bit muggy for today, and hopefully it's going to cool down through the rest of the week as we get that high pressure system that's going to situate right above us. And at the satellite radar, you see that there's the rain. That's what's going to hit us tonight. That's what's going to hit us tomorrow morning, and that's really what's going to bring in the weather or the storms that you really care about for the next couple of days. After that passes, there's a high pressure system that's going to sit right on top of Tallahassee, and it's going to clear the skies, remove the clouds, and it's going to be beautiful, it's going to be hot, it's going to be sunny, it's going to be really, really nice. If you have finals, right after that, you can just go to the beach, you can do whatever you want, it's going to be great. Tallahassee right now, though, is currently clear. We have a little bit of clouds in the sky, high level clouds. You don't really have to worry about that. The main thing you have to worry about is the storm that's all the way on the west side of the Big Bend region. That's going to come in. And as we see, it's going to move through the region at around 11:30. We're going to start getting some showers, nothing too serious. But as the rain continues to go through, that's when it's really going to hit us. And so between that 11:30 hour and 6:30 on Friday, that's when you need to be worry about the rain, the storms a little bit. Don't go outside if you don't have to, because you never know what's really out there. And for the future cast continuing on into the rest of Friday, it's going to be beautiful, it's going to be clear, and that's really going to empty out the skyline for the next week ahead. It's going to be beautiful, it's going to be really sunny. And Friday morning, it's going to be 64 degrees with those storms. So it's only going to really hit early in the morning, so if you don't have to wake up early, I'm so proud of you, but there will be no rain. You don't have to worry about it. It's just going to be warm for the rest of the week. Congratulations. And for tomorrow, it's going to be cool in that morning. It's going to increase as we head on in through the day. It's going to be 82 degrees in Tallahassee. A little bit warm all throughout the area, 80s. It's going to be basically a copy and paste day all throughout the 80s. And for that's a beautiful 7-day forecast. Right there, you see that 90% chance of rains in the AM of Friday. It's more like 100%. It just depends on where you're going to be. And it's going to clear on and warm up even with that 90 degrees on Tuesday. That's where it's really going to start heating up. And it's still going to be cool in at nighttime because, you know, it's the beginning of summer. But for now, I'm going to pass it on to Margaret and Sarah back at the desk.
Thanks, Lawrence. That 90 degree on Tuesdays, little bit hot for me.
Yeah, definitely. But in other news, though, we are not for here in our and here in the United States. Our hurricane season starts in June, but in other areas right now, they are seeing some tropical cyclones.
Yep, hurricane season is wrapping up in the southern Indian and South Pacific Ocean, and it's trying to go out on a strong note from the perspective of the hurricanes that Mozambique recently had Tropical Cyclone Idai make landfall, and now currently is Tropical Cyclone Kenneth making landfall just recently in Mozambique.
And it's equivalent of a Cat 3 hurricane, and this system is starting to weaken, but it's lingering in that area. That's why they're going to be seeing some really high potential of some rainfall, up to 10 to 20 inches. And other areas could see locally higher areas. And in the month of April, they only see 5 inches of rain. So this is a very serious situation, a life-threatening situation for them, as they could see some flash flood warnings and some mudslides out there.
Especially since they already had so much rain with the previous tropical cyclone that made landfall just a couple weeks ago. So our thoughts are with the people of Mozambique as they're dealing with the aftermath of not one but two tropical cyclones and all the flooding from that. But now we're going to bring things back around to our part of the world and send things out to AJ with the lifestyle segment.
Yeah, I figured it was only fitting to give myself the lifestyle forecast since I kind of brought it in and I kind of wanted to close it out with a nice lifestyle forecast. Good thing the res isn't open at 2 a.m. I can't imagine anybody would be there anyways, but it's going to be absolutely pouring. But after that rain moves out, it's going to be a perfect day to head out to the res. You need a break from studying. Res is going to be your place to go, not just tomorrow, but for the entire weekend, honestly. Your Friday night forecast heading out and about on the town, going to be 75 degrees. Not quite sure it's going to be sunny at 8 o'clock at night. Could be, I don't know. But it's going to be mostly clear, not expecting any precipitation as we get into your Friday night. Heading out to the golf course. I know there's going to be at least one person who's probably doing the show right now, actually going to be the next segment, who loves to head out to the golf course. Going to be having to dodge the rain if you've got that early tee time, but then as we move into the afternoon and evening hours, this is going to be the perfect day to hit the links as well. Nice stress reliever also if you want to head over to one of the local golf courses also. Your 3-day forecast as we move into the weekend, got that 90% chance of rain that's going to be moving through early in the day on Friday, clearing out skies for the remainder of the weekend. Temperatures easily climbing into the mid-80s for your Saturday and Sunday. You're going to really be hard-pressed to find a cloud in the sky as we get into the weekend and into next week. Our Futurecast here, and I will remind you that this Futurecast does start tomorrow at noon and moves through into the weekend hours. And no, it is not broken. There's just nothing going on for the entire Friday afternoon into Friday evening, and nothing at all expected in the form of precipitation, not even any clouds showing up on our Futurecast here as we move into late Saturday evening. And as I said, that trend is really going to continue well into next week when we get our finals going. But for now, I'm going to send things over to Michael, who's going to wrap up our final Thursday show with our last local forecast.
Yeah, thanks, AJ. You know me very well. I do love actually heading out to the golf course a lot, and I'll especially do that this weekend. But honestly, look at how it is right now. You can see clouds are increasing as we go into the view above Doak Campbell Stadium. You start to notice how, yeah, those clouds are increasing ahead of that front. We are tracking right along Mississippi and the Louisiana border, and it will continue to increase as we go into the nighttime hours, leading to those storms at around the 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock hour as expected. But honestly, not a bad day outside with the mostly cloudy skies, not very thick clouds, more the high-level clouds just like they were yesterday, 77 degrees. But the southerly wind of 10 miles per hour, increasing the moisture content for those storms we are expecting later in the overnight hours. And satellite radar does show you those clouds moving ahead of the main line back towards Alabama and Mississippi. That tornado warning already out towards the Panhandle and the Mobile and the Dauphin Island area. And this line is going to move through Tallahassee again around basically while you're sleeping. If anyone is up at 3 in the morning, it's probably because they're studying for finals, but you shouldn't be up at 3 in the morning. It's going to be like more of a overnight threat for this. And by the time you wake up and head out to work tomorrow morning, feels like nothing's going to happen. It's going to be just a some clouds remaining, and the sun will come up by noon. Well, the current conditions across Tallahassee, you see cloudy in 77 in Tallahassee, sunny in 79 in Quincy, and sunny in 77 in Thomasville. Again, those clouds are going to increase as we go into the overnight hours, as well as these dew points. With the southerly winds, the dew points will get up into the upper 60s and possibly into the 70s while that line of storms does move through the region. The winds are causing that moisture to increase, and notice how they're becoming breezy also at 13 miles per hour in Tallahassee, 11 in Quincy, and 15 in Monticello. So again, a little breezy evening hours if you do want to head out before these line of storms do move through at around 11:30 for Decatur, Gadsden, Liberty, and Franklin County. That's when we'll expect those line of storms to move through. And you notice how they are a little bit of pinks. Might be some hail possible with this line of storms moving through. So be aware of that. Might want to move your belongings indoor, like cars and other stuff like that. Move them indoors just in case we do get some hail from this line of storms. It moves through Tallahassee, as you saw, during the 3 a.m. to 4 a.m. hour. By the time the sun rises around 7 o'clock, line of storms does move through. The clouds fizzle very quickly behind these line of storms. And by the time we get to around the lunchtime hour at around noon, mostly sunny skies, maybe a stray shower possible, but I don't really expect it for the afternoon hours. It's going to be a great, honestly, end to April and beginning of May here in Tallahassee. So for tomorrow morning, we will have those storms expected, especially before sunrise. They should honestly stop once the sun rises, and then the clouds will break and you'll get that sun in the afternoon. As we are expecting tomorrow morning clouds, PM sun, with temperatures in the low 80s, 82 in Tallahassee. And that 7-day forecast does show you once those storms do move through, the heat does come, but it's at least a dry heat. You can see that by the low temperatures, only around 60 degrees. So it's not that bad, honestly, AJ and Lawrence. What do you think about that?
Yeah, Lorenz, I know you're a South Florida guy. What do you think of that 90 degrees already showing up in our forecast by the end of April, moving into May?
Well, that does not seem like spring to me. Honestly, that seems like summer, and I do like summer. I am from Florida, but that's a little too hot for me. I don't really like that.
Yeah, I mean, honestly though, I'd rather take that 90, 89 degrees with no rain or anything compared to that 78 and it's going to be rainy all day. So.
Exactly. You don't have to worry about bringing your umbrella. I always forget my umbrella. I bring it everywhere.
I'm a
but
meteorologist. I know.
Yeah.
I'm going to be a meteorologist and I constantly forget my umbrella.
Exactly. So I do prefer those days without, any of that rain, even if it's hot.
Yeah, but as I said earlier in the show, this is our last Thursday show of the semester, and next year I'm going to be passing it off to none other than you. So, I mean, honestly, I don't think there's anybody else I'd rather pass it off to. I know that you've been in the tech room pretty much every single Thursday show for me. My show was the first show that you've ever done on FSU Weather.
So was Thursday.
Yeah, I feel like you're absolutely perfect for this, man. You're gonna do awesome in this role.
Thank you so much. I'm really honored. This was my favorite show to do every week. I know I love all the shows.
You're gonna make me blush.
Thursday's
Stop.
really good. So I'm glad to take it over. So thank you so much.
Yeah, man. I'm really excited to see what you can do because I've seen what you can do back in the tech room. We've done stuff this semester that we've never been able to do before. So it's going to be a really good year next year for FSU Weather. But for all of us here at FSU Weather, I'm student meteorologist AJ Willie.
And I'm student meteorologist Lawrence Torres-Leschnik. Have a great night.